Alright guys, this is my review of the signature Jason Becker Kiesel guitar. This is a custom-made guitar. Wait time on it I think was about 2 months from the day I ordered it to the day that it arrived. And I would invite you to go to the Kiesel website to just see all the specifics and details. That's going to be a great reference. But I'll point out things I like about it and things I've noticed that are interesting or different or whatnot. First of all, I want to say it came in its case, and hands down is the best guitar case that I have. It's just super padded, a lot of protection, and you can see it's built with high quality. Now, the guitar usually comes in the natural wood color, which I'm not a fan of natural wood color, so I obviously chose this color, which it's metallic grape jelly, I believe. But there's a lot of rad colors you can order from. And I don't know, the lighting here doesn't do the color justice. This is just amazing. I love it. And the fret markers are the numbers, which I'm a numbers person, so I really like those. The one thing I don't like as much is the yellow color, because like on this one, I don't know if you can tell in that shot, it kind of fades out, and if the lighting isn't right, you don't see it. But other than that, I mean, they look pretty cool and original instead of just a dot or whatever. So I like that. And another thing, the frets are stainless steel, and it sounds amazing. It really makes a difference. I think. You can see a little bit of the sparkle in that lighting. That's pretty much how the guitar looks. And if you can see the tuners, like they look just solid, high quality. And this is, I mean, there's Mr. Kiesel's signature right there. He was kind enough to sign it for me. And I mean, hands down, I think this is quality-wise the best guitar I have. And it's definitely, in my opinion, higher quality than something that you would pick up from the shelf at a music store. With that said, since these aren't easily available anywhere, try to get your hands on one. It's a bit of a challenge unless you go to their showroom. So this is pretty much one of the reasons I wanted to do this quick review, to give you a little bit more information or a little bit more interaction with one of these bad boys if you're planning on buying it or taking the plunge. Because when I got it, I kind of ordered it blindside. I had no personal experience with any Kiesel guitar, let alone this model. So I just want to save you a little bit of heartache or suspense on whether you're going to like it or not. From the get-go, when I tried it, it feels completely different than any of my other guitars. Any Strat-like or Super Strat-like guitar. I think it's on, I don't know if a league of its own, but just it's unique, the feel and whatnot. The wood is solid. Like, it has a little bit of weight to it, which, my opinion, I mean, I think it's a good thing. It just shows quality materials. And the setup, as it arrived from factory, I think I barely had to tune it, and it sounds amazing. It's up to date, my favorite setting. I've had a few guitars like taken to luthiers and have them set up, but this one, just from the factory, it's my favorite setup so far. Now, it does have a different feel. Immediately when I picked it up, I'm like, it's going to take a little bit to get used to. And I can't really put my finger on exactly what it is, but I'll bring up a few things that I kind of noticed. And I don't know if these are the factor or it's just a different instrument altogether. But one of the things, the neck feels like thicker than, for instance, a Strat or another super Strat guitar style guitar from the ones that I own. It just feels like there's more meat to it. And for me, having, I don't know if it's a thinner profile neck, I did notice it. With that said, I try to figure out exactly what it was, if it was just the thickness, but also I think the shape of the back of the neck, it's a little different. For instance, when I grab my Strat, my hand seems to like fit a little better, in the sense that this one has, I don't know if I would call them like little bumps or just a different sort of radius right here on the top and on the bottom corners, so to speak. The curvature is not as smooth. It has kind of a longer bump. I'll probably make a fool of myself here, but so just to give you a little bit of idea, for instance, this would be like next I'm kind of used to, and this is a pretty bad picture, but I hope it explains my point, where it seems to have like those little, I don't want to call them bumps, I don't know the technical term, but for instance, looking at further from the sides, instead of being just more naturally curved, the curve seems to extend down a little bit longer, and I can feel it a little bit. It's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just something I notice, like those little, I don't know, curves are there. So it just feels like a thicker neck. I don't know, maybe somebody with bigger hands might not even notice it. But it's something that came up to my attention. Another thing, I do like the pickups, how they sound and everything. And the first thing I want to mention is the parts seem to be a little bit better quality than what I've seen in other guitars. Even like the tremolo, it's a American-made Floyd Rose, which I have American-made Floyd Rose on other guitars, but this one seems to be just a little better quality. Same with all the different parts. I don't know. It just really feels like you can tell that it's a custom-made guitar. Like, it's just really good quality that even somebody that's not an expert luthier like myself, I think I can pick up on that, and I really appreciate that, especially because you're pretty much getting it at the price of a off-the-shelf guitar at a music store. The feel and the play, it's pretty awesome. It's become one of my favorite guitars already, and I've just had it a few weeks. The other thing I want to bring up real quick, the way the pick switch and the volume knob, I mean, I like them. I like simple settings. I usually don't need a tone control, so I'm not missing that. But the one thing I do have to comment, and it might be just obviously for this particular model, not on all Kiesel guitars, but it's very different as some other guitars. For instance, I'm used to being able to pick and do swells on my volume, and this one, it's just like the whammy bar kind of gets in the way. It's really uncomfortable, and like I can't really do swells comfortably with this guitar. Another thing, if you have the whammy bar and you're trying to change your pickup selector, like it's hard to reach. Like this is definitely in the way, so you either have to go around this way or come down this way, and when you go back, it's in the way again. So it's just something to point out, especially if you're one of those guitars, like I see a bunch of tremendous players that every other note, like they're changing the pickup, like they want smoother or edgier, and every other lick they're switching it around. This is gonna be something you have to, get used to. But the other thing is I think if you're just strumming and doing a lot of that, it might be convenient because it's out of your strumming hand's way. So you're not going to be hitting the volume by mistake, or it's less likely. Where like a Strat, it's right there. It's easier for the swells, but the strumming, if you're not used to it, it might be inconvenient. Now you might say, well, let's take the whammy bar off, which we can, and that's going to alleviate your access to this a little bit. Although the volume seems to kind of, I don't know, it just, I don't want to say I hate it, but I can definitely notice it's not the easiest to get access to. And then still, even without the tremolo, doing swells here, I don't know, maybe if I had bigger hands, or, which, I mean, I don't think I have small hands. It's just not very convenient. And I'll show you like in another guitar just to give you a comparison. I'm not trying to do a shootout, but for instance, on a Strat, also with a Floyd Rose, you have like real easy to do swells and change your volume. I know a lot of people like the settings where if you roll down the volume a little bit, it gets it cleaner, or you crank it up to get more crunch. So that Jason Becker model, it's going to be a little bit more challenging. And then these ones, like your pickup selector is right there. Like there's no, you don't have to jump around. I don't know. I usually don't mess with the tones, but even these are kind of easy to get to. So that would be something that if you like swells, if you're a tinkerer with the selector, it might be something to consider if you're picking up one of those Jason Becker guitars. And you might say, well, it's just a Strat, that's a different guitar, and you are correct, but another like super Strat sort of guitar, I think you won't find that problem of, because this one I can do swells if I need to, and I can access the pickup selector real quick and easily without this being in the way or having to take it off. So just something to consider. I'm not hating on this guitar, but it's definitely going to be something you have to get used to or overcome, or maybe it's not something important for you, which never mind. But I just want to try to do an objective review of this guitar. And then if you have to take this off, one of the reasons you get one of these guitars is because you want to use the whammy at least a little bit, you know. So I don't know. You definitely can do it. And it's just something to consider. With that said, hands down, this is one of my favorite guitars. It plays amazing. The quality built. I would definitely buy another Kiesel guitar just with the experience I've had on this one. And this was like a blind date. I just bought it without ever playing or having a Kiesel guitar in my hands. And I'm not a big tinkerer on pickups, like changes. I'm not changing it every single note. So, I mean, it's not super important to me. And I mean, that's why you have more than one guitar also, to do different things, right? I hope this was somewhat helpful. Again, here's a little bit of a closer look of the guitar. I hope I was able to give you a better idea on this instrument. If you have questions, let me know and I'll try to address them. But keep on rocking.